Freedom begins where control ends. You don't need to control the world. Think about that for a moment, because the truth is, the world is too big, too noisy, too unpredictable. Trying to control everything around you will only leave you exhausted, angry, and frustrated. But what if I told you, you only need to control 4 things, not politics, not economics, not other people, just this: your mouth, your mood, your money, and your mind. That is where the real power lies. And if you can't master any of them, life will have a way of humbling you. Quietly, but surely. You can be smart, talented, and well-intentioned. But if you lose your temper at the wrong time, say the wrong thing, act on impulse, spend beyond your means, or let your thoughts become chaotic, you're not living your life. You are reacting to it. And there is a big difference. You see, we live in a world that teaches us to pursue control. Control of outcome, opinions, status, success. But the Stoics, the ancient warriors of the inner world, taught something deeper. Freedom is not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. It's knowing when to speak and when silence is the most powerful answer. It is choosing calm in moments that call for chaos. It's about walking away gracefully instead of staying to win an argument that only satisfies your ego. This sentence means I don't need to prove anything to anyone because I know who I am. Let me ask you, how often do you try to fix everything around you while ignoring what's out of control inside? How many times have you wished for the world to change when all you really needed was a pause, a breath, a moment to come back to yourself? Real freedom does not exist. It all starts here, where your voice becomes intentional, your emotions become stable, your wallet aligns with your values, and your thoughts become allies instead of enemies. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to be responsible for what you say, for how you feel, for what you spend, and for what you believe. Because once you master those 4 things, no storm can shake you, no chaos can own you, and no one else can control your life but you. Your words are weapons without bones. He worked there for 7 years. Quiet, consistent, respectful. He wasn't loud or showy, but when he spoke, people listened. He was the kind of person you trusted without question. Until one day, in a meeting, everything became clear. A younger colleague was presenting a strategy, one he had helped shape. But the presentation was sloppy and the execution fell short. Frustrated, he shouted, interrupted. His voice was sharp, his eyes cold. He was right, no doubt about it. But the room fell silent. And after that moment, people never looked at him the same again. You see, you can be right, but still lose. You can tell the truth and still ruin your reputation simply by the way you say it. That is the power of words. They have no bones, but they can still destroy careers, trust, and relationships. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Stop wasting time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." The wise man does not speak to dominate, but to clarify. And usually, he chooses to stay silent. In today's world, everyone speaks, interrupting, reacting, correcting. But few people really listen. And even fewer people say words that carry more weight. Words that feel like they come from experience, not ego. Let me ask you a personal question. When was the last time you said something when you were angry and regretted it? Sure, you apologize. Maybe they even forgave you. But somewhere, deep in their minds, a small voice whispered, "Is that the real you?" Words don't just affect other people. They shape your identity. They reflect the way you think. And they train your mind to see the world in a certain way. Every careless word is a signal to yourself and to others about what is going on in your inner world. So next time you feel like getting angry, gossiping, or speaking your mind, ask yourself, is this helpful? Or am I just being noisy? Because in the end, people won't remember you for how loud you are. You will be remembered whether your words heal, guide, or silently destroy. Talk less. Mean more. Let your silence speak what your screams cannot. Mind, the silent battlefield that decides everything. He did not lose his life because he was fired. He lost it because, deep down, he decided he was done for. He stopped applying, stopped trying, no more trust. Friends still call, send job information, ask about, but he missed them. Not because those opportunities weren't real, but because he had convinced himself that they were not for him. That's how most people lose. Not because they fail, but because they surrender in their minds. Epictetus said it best. It is not the facts that concern us, but the way we judge them. Think about it. It's not the rejection, the silence, or the lost opportunity that breaks you. That's the story you tell yourself afterwards. I am not good enough. Maybe they don't like me. It's too late for me to start over. These are not facts. They are untrained thoughts. And if you don't challenge them, they will grow like mold in a dark room. Silence, spread, poison everything. Your mind is more than just a place where thoughts take place. That's where your life is shaped. Because every belief you hold, whether rooted in fear or truth, becomes the lens through which you see the world. So ask yourself, how many times do you think the worst before trying? How many doors have you closed in your mind before you knocked? You don't have to control every thought, but you need to filter them, like the gatekeeper of one's own destiny. Feed your mind with useless things, rumors, fears, chaos, and your world will reflect it. Nurture it with clarity, intention, silence, and peace will begin to appear. Stoics do not pretend that negativity does not exist. He simply didn't invite it to dinner. So when thoughts arise, doubts, spirals, fears, stop and ask yourself, is this true or just a story I made up? Because once you learn to question your thinking, they lose control of your life. Your mind is not a mirror of the world. It's the battlefield where your future is decided or lost. Don't let emotions rule your life. He didn't miss out on this job because of lack of experience or because someone else is more qualified. He missed it because his mood. That morning he spilled coffee on his shirt, stuck in traffic, had to wait 20 minutes in the lobby because the receptionist forgot my appointment. As he entered the interview, he remained calm, but his face was tense. His voice was flat. His energy was heavy. He didn't say anything wrong, but he didn't say anything right either, and they never called him back. That's the power of uncontrolled bad moods. It leaks at moments that have nothing to do with the trigger. It turns small frustrations into big consequences. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find power." Anger is not the problem. Disappointment, anxiety, sadness, they are not the problem either. The real problem comes when we hand over the wheel. Your emotions are like the weather. They move, they pass. But you wouldn't ruin your entire life just because it rained, would you? So why do we let one inconvenience ruin our day? Stoics do not suppress emotions but observe them. They practiced a simple but effective technique. Name it, I feel disappointed. I feel ignored. I feel uneasy. Because the moment you name your feelings, you create distance. And in that space, you can make choices. You can react impulsively, or you can react deliberately. You can spiral, or you can stop, breathe, and continue clearly. Here's the question you should ask when things get too overwhelming. What would a stronger version of me do right now? That question can change the direction of your life. Because feelings are not facts. They are signals, not commands. You can feel deeply and still choose wisely. You can honor your emotions without letting them get in the way. Control your mood. Otherwise, it will control everything. Self-mastery is the key to inner freedom. You can feel everything: disappointment, sadness, fear, desire, and still don't let anything control you. It's not emotional coldness. So touching proficiency. The world tells you to act, react, release. But not everything inside you deserves to be on stage. Not every emotion deserves to be the key to your life. True power is keeping calm in the storm. Not that the storm isn't real, but because you refuse to let it control you. Self-mastery is the key to inner freedom. You can feel everything: disappointment, sadness, fear, desire, and still don't let anything control you. It's not emotional coldness. So touching proficiency. The world tells you to act, react, release. But not everything inside you deserves to be on stage. Not every emotion deserves to be the key to your life. True power is keeping calm in the storm. Not that the storm isn't real, but because you refuse to let it control you. Because the man controls his mind cannot be manipulated, distracted, or destroyed. And that, more than success, acclaim, or control over others, is true freedom. If this resonated with you, please share. Let others find strength in your silence. And don't forget to subscribe for more practical Stoic advice for real life. This is not just philosophy, that is the path to peace. If you don't control your emotions, they will control your life. Let's be honest. Your mood will determine the tone of your words, your decisions, your relationships, even your results. You can be smart, well prepared, and have good intentions. But if you walk into the wrong room with the sorry, Tinane, you can't repair the damage caused by a bad mood by just saying, I'm sorry. Once the words are spoken, once the energy changes, something changed, and usually it doesn't change back. So what is the answer? Master your emotions. Just that. Train yourself to stay calm in the storm. Not because the world is peaceful, but because you are peaceful. Train yourself to smile for no reason. Not because everything is perfect, but because you don't let your circumstances determine your spirit. Train yourself to act on the principle. Not because of any mood that came up that day. Because here's what no one tells you. No victory lasts long if your emotions still rule. You may win an argument, but lose the relationship. You can have the last word and lose someone's respect. You may reach your goal, but get exhausted along the way. Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find power. You don't have to suppress your emotions. You just lead them. The Stoics taught a powerful technique. Name that feeling. I feel angry. I feel disappointed. I feel agitated. Just naming creates space, and in that space, you choose the driver. So ask yourself this powerful question. What would the strongest version of me do right now? Will he get angry or stop? Will he collapse or breathe? Will he react or stand up? You are allowed to feel it all, but you don't have to be governed by any of that, because emotional control is not about shutting down. It is about choose to rise above. Master your mood, or your mood will master you. Financial freedom isn't about being rich. It's about not being a slave. Money doesn't change people. It reveals them. It shows how much control you really have, or don't have. Look at the guy showing off his luxury car, designer clothes, and lavish vacations. Online, he looks like he's made it. But what about behind the scenes? He is drowning in debt. Credit card has reached maximum level. Unpaid bills piled up on the counter. All for the sake of impressing people he doesn't even respect. That is not freedom. It is a modern form of slavery, one that does not use chains, but have to pay monthly. See, in today's world, you are not chained by force. You are chained by buy now, worry later. We are not taught how to manage money. We are taught to pursue comfort. We don't ask, do I need this? We ask ourselves, do I deserve this? And that question leads straight into a trap. The Stoics held a different view. They do not define wealth by income or status. Epictetus said, wealth consists not in having many possessions, but in having few needs. In other words, you don't need more money. You need less cravings. Most people don't have money problems. They have one disciplinary issue. They are not spending money. They are spending their peace of mind, and call it happiness. So before you decide to buy your next product, ask yourself, did I buy this because I needed it or because I was bored? Is this a reward or a reaction? Will this still matter in 5 years, or will it just satisfy me for 5 seconds? Because true freedom isn't about what you buy. It is found in the power to speak, err not. Stoics do not budget to restrict their lives. He budgets to protect it. He saved not out of fear, but to be free. He avoids debt, not because he is stingy, but because debt steals more than money. It steals choices. Financial freedom is not a luxury. It's about self-control. Control your spending. Otherwise, you'll always be controlled by someone else. True freedom begins with self-mastery. Stoics never pursued wealth to achieve status. They don't build fortunes to flaunt them. They built it to protect their freedom. Because true freedom, it's not about how much money you make. How much is it about control? You have many choices to shape your life. Freedom is the ability to speak. I don't need this right now because I'm building something bigger. But when you are in debt, you cannot say that you can't opt for long-term solutions when short-term bills are screaming for attention. Debt doesn't just take away your money, it needs you peace of mind, your choices, your sleep, your future. And here's the unspoken part. If you can't say no to the urge, you will always be one yes man to everything else. To the jobs you hate, for those who wear you down, to a life that makes you small. Because you can't build freedom while selling your discipline, because you can't build freedom while selling your discipline. The world will always tempt you to live beyond your means, to prove your worth through what you wear, drive, or post online. But what is the purpose of looking successful if it means lose your independence behind the scenes? The Stoics understood that wealth is not how much you have. What matters is how much you actually need. The problem is not scarcity, it is about arrangement. The fit between your choices and your values, your goals and your behavior, your strength and your peace. You don't have to be rich to be free, but you need to own your decisions, especially the things no one sees, because true freedom is not without responsibility. It is the presence of self-esteem. And every time you choose discipline over indulgence, every time you leave a short-lived joy to protect something greater, you're not limiting your life, you're reclaiming it. Discipline is not a cage. It is a weapon. Most people hear the word discipline and think of restriction, of cold habits, of saying no to all the fun. But that is not the true nature of discipline. Discipline is not a prison, it is armor. That's what Stoics wear, not to impress others, but to protect themselves. Stay away from chaos. Stay away from noise. Stay away from temptations that take away your power. Discipline is what keeps you calm when you are insulted, because you know your peace is more valuable than proving a point. It's what prevents you from expressing, because you don't need validation to know your worth. It's what stops you from spinning to feel better, because you have learned that no purchase can fill the void within. A person who knows how to control himself cannot be controlled by others. Think about it. Because when you are not ruled by your emotions, you don't fall into the trap. When you are not ruled by your ego, you don't have to compete. When you are not ruled by impulse, you are not afraid of discipline. You choose it. And here's what most people miss. The more discipline you build, the more freedom you have. Freedom to say no, not out of fear, but out of confidence. Freedom to choose what matters instead of what's flashy. Freedom to stand alone without needing to be applauded. That's not a weakness. That is power. Silent, steadfast, unshakable. Discipline is not about making your life smaller. It's about creating your power bigger by focusing it. So ask yourself, where are you losing power in your life because you are chasing comfort? Where are you being pulled instead of being chosen? Because every time you choose discipline over impulsiveness, you send a message to the world and to yourself. I lead. I don't follow. And it's not just the Stoics. That is power. Portrait of a free man. No one is coming to save you. You want freedom? It doesn't start with controlling others. It doesn't come from perfect results or crowd applause. It all starts with mastering yourself, because the winner of the war within cannot be defeated by anything outside. That is the truth that the Stoics live by. Freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's about becoming someone who no longer needs to be rescued, not from the world, but from yourself. And here's the paradox. You are both the architect and the destroyer. You are the protector and sometimes the prisoner. You are the builder and also the destroyer. And that's why this piece is so personal. You can listen to all the podcasts, read all the books, watch all videos, but if you don't take responsibility, nothing will change. You don't need any more motivation. You need more honesty. Look in the mirror and ask, am I really living my life? Or am I just reacting to it? Am I building something solid? Or am I destroying it with my habits, excuses, and emotions? Because here's what you have to understand. No one is coming to save you. Not the next paycheck, not the next relationship, not the next big breakthrough. You are that person, the person in control, the tone setter, the decision maker. Every day, should we pursue comfort or to follow condemnation? That is the Stoic path. Not cold, not stiff, but it is true. originated from courage, driven by integrity, built on the unshakable truth that freedom without discipline is just another kind of prison. So if you want to be free, really free, start from the most important place inside you. You've started. Now keep going. Let me end this story with you. You have already started. The fact that you are here, listening, reflecting, asking questions, means you are no longer asleep. You have taken the first step on the most important path, the path to self-mastery. This journey is not about perfection. The point is to refuse to remain passive. The point is to choose awareness over autopilot. It's about building strength that no one can see, but everyone can feel. And here's the truth. You don't have to change your entire life overnight. Start small, but start deliberate. Say less, but mean more. Think clearly instead of reacting quickly. Feel deeply, but respond with wisdom. Spending is not about avoiding, but about investing in the future you truly want. Because when you control these four things, your words, your emotions, your money, and your mind, everything else started to fall into place. Your energy becomes more focused. Your choices become clearer. Your direction becomes steady. And suddenly the world is no longer a place you need to fight. It feels like you've always wanted to lead something. This is not just philosophy, it is practice. That is discipline. It's the quiet strength of someone who no longer needs to pursue anything because they've chosen who they're going to be. So if any part of this message resonates with you, don't just nod and move on. Do something. Leave a comment. Which part makes you feel most uncomfortable? Share this with someone who is still fighting in silence. Order with daily Stoic light, because this is not the end. This is the beginning of your next chapter, where you not only know better, you live better.